Hello friends and welcome to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today I am bringing you some more Darkside love in the form of 3 brand new characters that we are getting in the game, added to the Darkside, added to mainly the Imperial squad, and those are Colonel Starck, Imperial Probe Droid, and the Wampa. We've just received brand new information about what their kits look like and what potentially they are going to, what role they're going to play. Now, I'm going to go over their kits, but I'm also going to theory craft a little bit as to what this means and how I'm going to try and play them and why I am or am not excited for these newest of Toons. Now, the first character that we are going to see in this match, or the first character we are going to be going over, is the Wampa. Now, the Wampa is available through shards achieved via Territory Wars. Basic ability is called Wamp, and it deals physical damage to target enemy and inflicts damage over time for 2 turns. If the target enemy was exposed or staggered, stun them for 1 turn. If the target was debuffed, gain 20% turn meter. If Wampa isn't debuffed, gain 20% turn meter. This attack can't be evaded. This attack has 100% offense against rebel targets. Now that's awesome. That really is a powerful, powerful hit against the rebels. I'm actually curious to know how this is going to, that exposed, staggered, I'm curious to know if that's going to have an effect on the raids, if we'll see the Wampa eventually showing up on the raids, because you have a lot of abilities, you have a lot of areas or teams on the raids that have, or that need that damage over time, or that is beneficial, or that throw expose and stagger on stuff. So it'll be interesting. Also, that 20% turn meter gain is nice, right? That means the Wampa is going to be attacking a lot. Now, throw him on with someone who gives him automatic turn meter or gives him additional turn meter. So like first order officers, the first one that comes to mind, he can choose to give someone 100% turn meter. That's going to be a very powerful attack, especially if he can attack over and over again, right? If he can attack repeatedly. And with some turn meter gain, that is going to be pretty effective. So that's kind of nice. His first special ability is called Icebreaker. Dispels all debuffs on Wampa. Deal physical damage to all enemies and daze them for 2 turns. Wampa gains protection up 150% until the next time this ability is used, which can't be dispelled or prevented. Now this has a 5-turn cooldown. I think it's going to make the survivability, if nothing else, that much better. Who knows? Special ability number 2, Furious Foe. Inflict healing immunity on all enemies for 2 turns, which can't be evaded. Wampa gains 35% accuracy, 35% critical chance, and 35% offense, stacking for the rest of the encounter. Wampa gains 15% turn meter for each defeated ally and each active enemy. The ability starts on cooldown, 4-turn cooldown. Now, this is actually pretty interesting. Now we've seen the Wampa take some action, or in action, in 2 different phases. We see him going up against the Ewoks here, and he's doing some serious damage. His first unique ability, Howling Rage, while Wampa has protection up, which he gets in, you know, his first ability back there with Icebreaker. It has 20% counter chance, 50% offense, and 50% tenacity. So anytime he has protection up, that is 150% offense against a rebel. The fact that he's fast and is going to have counter, that is going to make this guy hit like a dump truck. Now his final unique ability, Cornered Beast. Wampa has a 50% counter chance. Wampa has a 10% counter chance, 5% health steal, and 5% offense for each damage over time enemy effect on an enemy. Wow. So, holy crap. With this ability, think about how often Vader puts damage over time, a Zated Vader puts damage over time on the tank, on really just anyone. Wampa has 10% counter chance, 5% health steal, and 5% offense for each damage over time effect on each enemy. That is going to be ridiculous because Vader's ability stacks. A Wampa under Vader is going to be effing amazing. I am so very excited to see this. Before I read this, before I really thought about this, I was really just excited for the Wampa because I love seeing the Wampa Cookie Monster in something Darkside. But no, that is going to be excited. That damage over time is going to be amazing. That is such a powerful ability because Vader throws that stuff on. Vader and Sidious, and you put, I don't even know, any number of other characters that throw damage over time on this team. And all of a sudden, the Wampa just becomes ridiculously powerful. Magma Trooper also throws damage over time, I believe. And I mean, there's just a number of characters that do that. So I think the Wampa is going to be pretty powerful, pretty potent. And if you're going to try to run, I'm going to have to run it now because I'm talking about it. But that team that it is Vader Lead, Sidious, Phasma, Ewok Elder, and Tusken Raider. If you take Tusken Raider out, or no, Tusken Raider is decent, but if you take Ewok Elder out or something like that, boom, all of a sudden you have the Wampa there. You're going to just do some serious damage. Anytime someone hits, he is going to hit back like a dump truck. So keep that in mind when you are thinking about whether or not to farm the Wampa. Now the next character we're going to be looking at is Colonel Stark. And for those of you who don't know who this character is, he was the leader in the Blizzard 4 Force. He was the dude in the AT-AT walking when Luke, cuts open the AT-ST, throws a grenade and drops down. He's the one in there, right? He's the one who's there. And he's also the one that dies. Now, what's cool about this, he's an officer of the Galactic Empire, commander of an AT-AT, Blizzard 4, serving under General Veers at the Battle of Hoth. He is Darkside, Empire, Imperial Trooper, and support. So, Imperial Trooper is going to come up later. Debilitating shot at his first, deals physical damage to target enemy and inflicts defense down for 2 turns. If the target was already debuffed, deal double damage, right? So that's fairly decent. Double damage is going to be nice, especially on a team where he is doing... where there's a lot of debuffs, right? I think of a Vader, I think of the Imperial Trooper team. Gonna be awesome. Scan all wavelengths, the first special. Empire allies gain critical chance up, critical damage up for 3 turns. Stark gains 5% turn meter for each Empire ally and each Rebel enemy. Now his next ability, his first special, scan all wavelengths. Empire allies gain critical chance up and critical damage up for 3 turns. Stark gains 5% turn meter for each Empire ally and each Rebel enemy. That means if you are going up against a team of all Rebels and use this ability, that's 5% for each one of them. That's 25% turn meter there. If you have 4 other Imperial allies on your team, that's an additional 20%. So by using this, you get a 45% increase to attack again. Now, I think, just from what I'm seeing, he is a fairly fast character. Now, deal physical damage to his next ability, Blizzard 4 Barrage. Now, it deals physical damage to all enemies with a 50% chance to stagger them. That is pretty nice. Now, if they're staggered, that's going to drop turn meter on those enemies. Now, it's not guaranteed, but each one of them is going to have a chance to be staggered. So that can do quite a bit of damage. Dispel all buffs on the primary target for each active Imperial Trooper ally. Deal 10% more damage and reduce the cooldown of this ability by 1. Now, I've been talking with some of the others who got this footage before, and we don't necessarily see what the cooldown is. Now, if by the time I launch this video, that is answered, I will put it in the notes below. But if it's not, then I'm just gonna have to leave it at that. But from the footage that we're seeing, it looks like it's probably anywhere between the normal cooldown without any buffs here is somewhere between 7 and 10. So if that's the case, probably not terrible. That means every 3 or 4 turns, if you have a team full of Imperial Troopers, then great. That's you're going to be able to use this over and over and over again, and you're going to be able to really kind of manipulate the other team's turn meter. Stark's unique ability, Imperial Intelligence, reads at the end of his turn, Stark recovers 7% health and 3% protection and removes 1% turn meter from all enemies for each active Empire ally, doubled for Imperial Trooper allies. Now that doesn't say if all of those percentages are doubled or if just turn meter removal is doubled. Either way, that's going to be pretty effective because that's just really nice. While Stark is active, Imperial Trooper allies have a plus 50 armor penetration. That is going to be really effective. Now, part of the reason why I'm not super excited about Stark is I don't have any of the Imperial Troopers built up. I think my highest character is Magma Trooper and then maybe Snow Trooper, which, you know, not terrible, but just really not great. Now I'm gonna love Magma Trooper a lot more now that the Wampa's in play, because he's got a really potent AoE effect that is a NAS, and I think it's just gonna be great. But I am excited because I think what we're getting is the first glimpse of what a Darkside territory battle is going to need. And what we're seeing is, I think, a lot of Imperial characters being thrown at us, which in my mind means that our first Darkside territory battle is likely going to be some kind of Imperial victory, some kind of Imperial battle where the imps come out on top. I'm not 100%, I don't quote me on that, but I am pretty excited about that. Again, not excited simply because I don't have any, troopers really built up or developed. But I am curious to see what this looks like. I'm really curious to see how he plays with some of the other characters. Next on the list is the Imperial Probe Droid. Now, this Imperial Probe Droid, we've seen him in battle before. We've seen him play out. In a lot of the territory battles that we've seen so far, we have been going up against Imperial Probe Droids. Now we are going to get a chance to actually play with them. It is Empire, it is a droid, it is a support character, and it's Darkside. His character shards will be earned through nodes in territory battles, Darkside territory battles, right? So this is the Rolo of Darkside territory battles. Precision blasters, his basic, deals physical damage to target enemy with 80% chance to expose them for 2 turns. And the fact that it's an 80% chance to expose for 2 turns is going to be very beneficial. His first special, Detect, reads dispel all buffs on all enemies with a 75% chance to inflict target lock for 2 turns. Then remove 5% turn meter from the target locked enemies. This attack can't be evaded. So as you throw this on, you are going to have, over and over again, the opportunity to remove 5% turn meter, which isn't a huge bonus, isn't a huge win in and of itself, but its next special ability, Final or Self-Destruct, which I believe can only be used once. Keep that in mind. Imperial Probe Droid instantly defeats itself and can't be revived. Deals massive damage to target enemy. Deals physical damage to enemies equal to 30% of their max health. Expose all target locked enemies for 2 turns. This attack can't be evaded. While Imperial Probe Droid has full health or has no active allies, the ability cannot be activated. So the cooldown of the ability is set to 1 and can't be reduced. So, those people like Nihilus who increase cooldown, that's not going to affect this guy, or you're not going to want to attack him, because the moment he has less than 100% health, he can use this ability. That's a very potent thing. That's a very powerful thing. There have been many times in the territory battles that I have lost from moving on to phase 6 or moving from 5 to 6 because one of these little boogers came out of nowhere and blew himself up and just decimated my team, or made it so that the rest of my team could be decimated. And I'm really excited about this. I'm curious to see what it looks like, and I like that. So his unique ability, Imperial Logic, Imperial Probe Droid, has plus 50% max health at the end of each droid ally turn, at the end of each Imperial ally turn, and at the end of each rebel enemy turn. Imperial Probe Droid gains 3% turn meter. While the Imperial Probe Droid is active, target locked enemies can't gain buffs and have a minus 25% protection. Holy crap. Okay, so first off, if you have this guy on your team and you're going up against rebels, he is going to be going very fast. He is going to be going incredibly fast, and that's ridiculous. I'm curious to see what he looks like on a droid team. I am more excited about this than I was before. I am really curious to see what the droid team can do in phase 2 and phase 4 of the tank raid, the heroic tank raid. I'm curious. I'm really excited to see this, just to see it in action, just to see it in play, because it's been frustrating on my side playing offense, going up against these things on defense. They're not hard to beat, but we're really not going up against teams that are designed to make them to where they're a difficult thing to destroy. They're effective and they're frustrating, but really they're not that difficult to defeat. Now, I will have actual gameplay footage. I should have access to these Toons here in the next couple of days. And so as I'm building out my droid team, you better believe that I'm going to be playing with the Imperial Probe Droid. What do you guys think of this latest information? I've tried to come up with a title, or come up with a name for this release, and I'm thinking Starck Probe Wampa, or Wampa-Starck Probe, or Wampa Probes Starck. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. You guys come up with something clever. You're probably better at it than I am. Obviously, my attempts were pretty weak. But I'm excited about it. Now, these aren't going to be the best characters. These aren't going to be the most meta-defining, and I'm glad that they're not. I'm glad that we're getting more and more characters that we can play around with, that we can get a feel for, that we can try out. Not everything has to be a meta change, and I'm excited about that. What I would love to see this game turn into is 4 or 5 metas vying for this top meta. 4 or 5 teams vying for the most powerful team. I would love to see something take down CLS as one of the meta characters, if not the meta character. But I don't want CLS to be nerfed. I want them to be... I want other characters to be as good as him. And that's what makes this game challenging. That's what I like about it, is playing around these characters to figure out which one works best. And in fact, playing with them just to figure out which teams I like to play the most. I'll leave a box here. You can check out one of my videos that I called it Akbar's Glass Cannon. And it was essentially Admiral Akbar and the 4 Hans. And it is a fun team to play with. I don't recommend anyone actually going after the team to build, but it is a fun team. The thing is, you probably have a lot of the characters already built up, maybe with 1 or 2 exceptions. But one of the reasons I like this game is because I want to try different combinations and see how they work, and see how they work together, and see how they fit together. It's fun, it's exciting for me, and I'm excited about these new characters. What I'm most excited about is what they tell us about Territory Battle's Darkside. I do think that we're going to be seeing something soon, if not information, maybe gameplay. I have no idea. I do know that we will have access to this footage here in the next little bit, and we will be able to tweak and play with these teams. So leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what team compositions you'd like to see any of these 3 characters in, and I'll try to make a video when I do some gameplay footage later on. Now, with that being said, every Friday we're going to be doing a fan favorite Friday, which is going to be our fan favorite request segment, where anyone right now who wants to suggest a character combination, a team setup, what I'll do is I'll go through and I will make that team, and I'll play it in Galactic War, I'll play it in Arena, and I'll figure it out and see if it's viable. I'll do all Gear 12. I'll get them all the way up to all the Zetas that are needed and or required, and I'll put them together. But right now, I'm leaving it open for anyone who requests. My next video is going to be a droid team. It is essentially the team that I've been wanting to build for a while, and I'm working on putting them together right now. But with that, this right now is open to anyone who suggests in the coming weeks and months. I will close this down to patrons only. I want to say thank you to anyone who has subscribed or who has already joined me on Patreon. I really appreciate it. I will be getting you my Discord server information. If you subscribe for a Patreon, I will give you access to my Discord server, and you know, varying levels of patronage. We'll get varying levels of stuff. I do want to give a shout out to my friends over at gamingfans.com. They have got a great website, and they have got this awesome new mod wiki that I find really useful and really informative. Go check them out. I'll leave a link in the section below. Also, the Cheat Code Podcast. I'll leave a link to them in the section below as well. They are a very fun group of guys. They interviewed me a couple of weeks ago, actually now, and I loved the time I spent with them. A lot of fun, a lot of entertainment, a lot of enjoyment there. But they're a group of entertaining guys. Check that podcast out and you know, give them your support. Leave a comment in the section below, guys. Subscribe, like, share this video. Let me know what you guys think. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, stay nerdy, my friends.